Any switch designed to be operated by a person is generally called a hand switch, and as we have seen in previous presentations, they are manufactured in many shapes, sizes, and styles. Some switches are specifically designed to be operated by the motion of a machine or something in a machine rather than by the hand of a human operator. These types of switches are called control switches. Here are the schematic diagram symbols for some common machine control switches. Limit switches are operated by the motion of an object. Pressure switches are operated by the pressure of a gas or liquid. Temperature switches are operated by a change in temperature. And level switches are operated by the level of a material or liquid in a tank. Limit switches are motion-operated switches. They are often used to limit the motion of a machine by turning off the actuating power to a component if it moves too far. As with hand switches, limit switches come in several varieties. These are the common symbols for limit switches. The symbol on the left is of a limit switch held open by a spring. It must be actuated to close. The symbol on the right is of a limit switch held closed by a spring. It must be actuated to open. Here is a limit switch used on a door. These are the symbols for normally open and normally closed flow switches. A machine from turning too far. Similar to a limit switch, a proximity switch does not need to touch something to sense its presence. Proximity sensors use a variety of methods to sense the presence of objects, including magnetism, capacitance, sound waves, and light. This is the symbol for a proximity switch. Pressure switches operate by the pressure of a liquid, such as water, or a gas, such as air. These are the symbols for pressure switches. The switch symbol on the left represents a normally open pressure switch. It closes when the pressure reaches a certain set value. The switch symbol on the right represents a normally closed pressure switch. It opens when the pressure reaches a certain set value. This is a pressure switch commonly found on pumps for water wells. It is a normally closed pressure switch. It opens when the water pressure is high enough in the water tank, and that turns off the water pump in the well. This is a pressure switch commonly found on air compressors. It is a normally closed pressure switch. It opens when the air pressure is high enough in the tank, and that turns off the motor that turns the air compressor. Temperature switches operate by heat. They come in many different shapes and sizes. These are the symbols for temperature switches. The switch symbol on the left represents a normally open temperature switch. It closes when the temperature reaches a certain set value. The switch symbol on the right represents a normally closed temperature switch. It opens when the temperature reaches a certain set value. This is a thermostat, a kind of temperature switch that controls the heater or cooler in a building. A flow switch detects the flow of a liquid or gas. Typically, when a liquid or gas is flowing fast enough through a pipe, the flow switch will close or open its contacts. One application of flow switches is to make sure water is flowing through the electric heater of a spa or hot tub. If the heater were to run without water running through it, it would quickly boil the water or burn out. These are the symbols for normally open and normally closed flow switches. Speed switches sense the speed of a motor or engine. Depending on the type of switch, they will open or close if the machine is turning too fast or too slow. This is the symbol for a speed switch. Level switches are used to detect and control the level of a liquid or flowable material in a tank. These are the symbols for level switches. The level switch symbol on the left represents a normally open level switch. It closes when the level reaches it. The switch symbol on the right represents a normally closed level switch. It opens when the level reaches it. Not all level switches use floats. Some use sound waves, radio waves, light, and electricity to sense the level of liquids and flowable solids. Level switches are often used to keep a tank from overflowing by being filled up too much by a pump. This picture shows a type of electrical diagram known as a ladder diagram, showing a level indicator for a tank using several level switches. As the water fills up the tank, the level switches will close and turn on indicator lights. Ladder diagrams are commonly used to document electrical control circuits. They may include all kinds of control switches. The switches or inputs are on the left side of the diagram. The devices being controlled or outputs are on the right side of the diagram. The two vertical lines represent the two power supply lines, either direct current DC or alternating current AC. There is also a generic symbology for any switch contact, using a pair of vertical lines to represent the contact points in a switch. They are used in electrical diagrams, especially ladder diagrams. Normally open contacts are designated by the lines not touching, while normally closed contacts are designated with a diagonal line bridging between the two lines. The switch on the left will close when actuated and will be open while in the normal unactuated position. The switch on the right will open when actuated and is closed in the normal unactuated position. If switches are designated with these generic symbols, the type of switch usually will be noted in the text immediately beside the symbol. Please note that the symbol on the left is not to be confused with that of a capacitor, a device used to store electrical charge. If a capacitor needs to be represented in a control logic schematic, it will be shown like this. All of these control switches and more are used in machine control applications. In years past, control switches have often been used with relay control logic. Relays are electrically operated switches. Relays are also called electromechanical switches. They are basically one or more switch contacts, often with both normally open and normally closed contacts, operated by an electromagnet. Relays are found in all sorts of devices. Relays are simple devices, but they can be wired together to make logic decisions and even computations. In fact, some of the first digital computers ever built used relays to implement Boolean logic gates. This guy built one for education and fun. It clicks as it operates. Today, control switches are primarily used with computers, especially computers made for controlling machines called programmable logic controllers, or PLCs. PLCs are often programmed with a programming language called ladder logic, which is made to resemble electrical control ladder diagrams. Thank you for watching.